In demonstrations of solidarity and support, diplomats and political leaders from Europe and the US have been visiting Israel and the Middle East.
The Israeli military orders the evacuation of more than 1 million people from northern Gaza.
Russia attacks Ukraine's front lines while its artillery strikes sources of heat and power for civilians facing the prospect of another winter of war.
EU countries failed to reach an agreement on a 10-year extension for the controversial herbicide glyphosate.
The heads of the EU's Commission and Parliament have travelled to Israel in a show of solidarity with the country following last weekend's terrorist attack by Hamas. The Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani visited southern Israel with his Israeli counterpart Eli Cohen. He saw a building that took a direct hit from a rocket fired by Hamas and met the families of hostages. America has also sent a high-level delegation to the region. After meeting with Israeli leaders on Thursday, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken had talks with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in the Jordanian capital of Amman. The US is seeking support from Palestinian and other Arab leaders to isolate Hamas. Alongside the diplomatic drive, Washington has vowed to increase military support to Israel. That was the purpose of the US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's meeting with his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant in Tel Aviv.
As the smoke settles after another night of airstrikes, the Israeli military has called for the evacuation of northern Gaza. The United Nations says more than 1 million people have been given 24 hours notice to leave, possibly signalling the start of an Israeli land offensive. Large parts of the Gaza Strip have been bombed as Israel responds to the attack by Hamas on Saturday. It says it's targeting Hamas, not civilians.
There is no safe place in Gaza. There is no 1 million centimeter in Gaza where people can feel secure. Gaza is all exposed, and Gaza has, as I said earlier, been lacking the infrastructure, for the basic provision.
The UN says Israeli bombs have damaged or destroyed more than 2,500 homes and displaced around 338,000 people. The Hamas militant group, which controls Gaza, says Palestinians should ignore Israel's evacuation order and stay in their homes.
Vladimir Putin says he's concerned about the possible large-scale operation by the Israeli army against Hamas in Gaza. During a visit to Kyrgyzstan, the Russian president warned of the possible consequences for the civilian population.
Мы с вами только понимаем, как это совсем уже, если сказать так, полупрофессионально на использование тяжелой техники в жилых районах. Это сложное дело, чреватое серьезными последствиями для всех сторон. Ну и самое главное, что потери среди гражданских лиц будут абсолютно неприемлемы.
Israel has called up more than 300,000 reservists and massed tens of thousands of soldiers along the border with the Gaza Strip. Israel's given the population there 24 hours to evacuate northern Gaza.
The European Commission is investigating whether social media platform X allowed the dissemination of false information, violent content and hate speech after the Hamas attack in Israel. It's the first investigation under Brussels' new tech rules. The Digital Services Act aims to keep users safe online and stop the spread of harmful content. X has confirmed it's removed hundreds of Hamas-affiliated accounts in the past few days. It says it's also deleted or tagged tens of thousands of items related to terrorism. The Commission has given X-owner Elon Musk 1 week to explain how the platform's crisis response protocol is functioning. The Commission has also urged social media platforms Meta and TikTok to do more to tackle false information. Social media companies have seen a spike in potentially harmful posts about the Israel-Hamas conflict.
Moscow's official pictures of Russia's big guns in Ukraine, where officials say 118 key infrastructure facilities were hit in 133 locations. In fierce fighting near Avdiivka, Ukraine claims its forces are withstanding waves of Russian armor and infantry, killing hundreds of attackers daily. Kyiv's official pictures show its soldiers being trained in life-saving battlefield first aid, though it doesn't report its own casualty numbers.
This is the most crucial training courses ever, because every soldier needs to know how to save his or her own lives, and he or she needs to know how to save some others' lives who are nearby.
With sources of heat and light being targeted by Russia as winter approaches, civilians near the front face a daily hunt for heat and power.
A significant Russian attack on Avdiivka is not local efforts intended solely to fix Ukrainian forces. The Institute for the Study of War has revised its earlier assessment, adding that the think tank is not ready to state the exact objectives and likely outcome of Russian efforts there. Russian forces likely launched a significant and ongoing offensive effort around Avdiivka in the region of Donetsk since the 10th of October. There it is. The Institute for the Study of War observed them simultaneously attacking northwest, also west and south of Avdiivka using armored assault groups, rotary wing aircraft and concentrated artillery. Avdiivka city military administration head Vitaly Barabash indicated that Russian forces are carrying out assaults with air support in 10 to 12 directions around the settlement. The Institute for the Study of War states Russian forces have not secured any major breakthroughs near Avdiivka as of the 12th of October and are unlikely to immediately cut off Ukrainian forces in the city. Ukrainian military observers framed Russian offensive operations against Avdiivka as, quote, major attack, and noted that Russian forces used an unusually high number of armored vehicles in combat. Geolocated footage indicates that Russian forces have likely lost at least a battalion tactical group's worth of armored vehicles in offensive operations around Avdiivka. Now, the Institute for the Study of War admits that its previous assessment was likely overstated and Russian forces may not be applying the lessons learned from the previous offensive operations near Vuhledar in February 2023 or around Kiev in March 2022, when Ukrainian forces destroyed a disorderly advancing column of Russian armored vehicles.
A teacher is reported to have been killed and 2 other people injured in a knife attack at a high school in northern France. It happened around 11 a.m. at the Lycée Gambetta in Arras. French media quoting police sources say the male suspect was heard shouting Allah Akbar, God is great, in Arabic as he carried out the attack. He was arrested and taken into police custody. The alleged attacker's brother has also reportedly been arrested.
7 people were killed and several more injured when a minibus believed to be carrying illegal migrants overturned in southeast Germany. Police say the accident was caused by the driver attempting to avoid a police roadblock. The vehicle was said to be carrying 23 people, most of them of Syrian or Turkish nationality.
Der Mercedes Vito oder der Fahrer des Mercedes Vito hat sich dann der Kontrolle zu entziehen versucht, also ist geflüchtet. Und auf Höhe der Autobahnausfahrt Ampfing ist das Fahrzeug dann von der Fahrbahn abgekommen, ins Schleudern gekommen und schwer verunfallt.
The authorities in recent months have reported increased people smuggling on the route between Austria and Germany. A similar accident in Hungary this week killed 2 migrants and injured several more.
Neither approved nor rejected. On Friday, EU countries failed to agree on a 10-year extension for glyphosate. Last month, the European Commission proposed renewing the authorization for the herbicide until 2033. However, the 27 member states were unable to reach a qualified majority. Austria and Luxembourg voted against it, while France abstained. NGOs are happy with the outcome, emphasizing the product's dangers.
The evidence does indicate serious adverse effects. Now we know much more than we knew back in 2017, because it's not just cancer, it's also neurotoxicity, it's potential to disturb the microbiome and every disease that could be linked to this they can develop, and also the impact on biodiversity.
The European Commission nevertheless says that it's made the necessary changes and provided the information needed to convince and reassure governments.
The proposal that the Commission has submitted to the Member States is a proposal that followed extensive scientific research. Mountains of studies and data have been analysed. Of course, there are some gaps in data information which have been covered by our proposal, which imposes a series of conditions on the use of the active substance of glyphosate.
The proposal must now be examined in the coming weeks by a separate committee involving member states. But the outcome is still uncertain. If they can't get the vote over the line, the European Commission would have to take a decision before December the 15th, when the current authorisation expires.
Republican Steve Scalise has pulled out of the race for US House Speaker after meeting fierce resistance from hardliners within his party. The Louisiana congressman narrowly beat far-right candidate Jim Jordan to the party's nomination, but realised on Thursday he wouldn't be able to secure the 217 votes necessary to get elected. Political pressure is mounting on Republicans as the House enters its second week without a speaker, leaving it unable to function during a time of turmoil in the US and overseas.